My next guest is going to be back in action, taking on Mairon Santos, UFC 313, March 8th. It is right around the corner. It's Francis Marshall back here on the program. Francis, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Not as good as you, though, because I imagine if you got this fight here, that means you got the new contract. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I got that back in September, so it was nice to get that after my last fight.
Yeah.
Security back and then get another 4-fight deal.
Yeah, and I know, like, I know obviously you performed well in that last fight, but I mean, that's got to feel good just knowing that, the promotion's behind you. Not a lot of fighters get that second, third contract, right? So I'm sure you got to be riding off that a little bit going into the fight.
Yeah, definitely. I think it makes me a little more comfortable, kind of back's not against the wall like it was in the last fight. Could fight a little bit more free. You just feel better training. You finally get like a fight lined up and get a full camp for this one. So I'm excited.
Good stuff. When did you find out about this fight? Because I know we all found out about it recently. Was it the same thing with you, or did you have plenty of notice for this one?
I had a good amount of notice. I think I found out right about right after Christmas, maybe.
Oh, nice.
Or right before the year. So I think I had like a good 10 weeks before.
Okay. Well, there we go. And obviously fighting Santos, a little bit of hype behind him being on the Ultimate Fighter and all that, 14-1 record. How do you feel like you match up against him in this fight?
I feel like it's a good matchup. He's, typical striker versus kind of grappler thing. I mean, it happens a lot. But I strike a lot too. So I kind of if you watch my last fight, there wasn't much grappling going on. I think it's a good matchup for me. He has, good power in his punches, good kicks, and, he has some pretty decent defense. So it's going to be a tough fight, but it's going to be a really good fight. I think good to get my name out there a little bit more. He has a big record. He has a good following. So, yeah, I'm definitely excited for it.
Business as usual as far as camp over there at American Top Team. You guys got kind of the super team over there, Grant Dawson, Thiago Moises. Who are some of the main guys you're getting a chance to work with over there?
Working with Grant a lot. Dakota Bush, I've been sparring with a little bit.
Nice.
He's fighting after me. I mean, hopefully he gets back in the UFC this year too. He belongs in there. And then just being able to work with I worked with Neto a little bit. My striking coach, Anderson, he's been helping me a ton. And then, of course, having Mike Brown as the head coach is, it's great. He is super good at just little details and helping me work on new things and expand my game.
Yeah. And obviously a lot of your card was, or your team, I should say, was kind of on display at UFC 311. I know we're going back a little bit, but one thing I wanted to ask you about, if you have any insight, there was all this talk about Arman Tsarukyan and his back injury and people claiming it was a weight cut thing. I talked to Grant about this because Grant, obviously, he's in the gym a lot with those guys. And he was like, no, it was a legit back injury. Did you see all the chatter online that people said that Arman was having a hard time making weight, when it's like Grant told me that he was lighter than Moicano and himself going into fight week? Did you hear about all that?
I've seen some the people saying it, but that's just MMA fans. They always want something to, conspiracy about or have this big thing. It can't ever be what it actually is. They always want to, add something to it and make it sound worse. You don't know what pain someone's dealing with, whether how bad it is or if they could push through, if they couldn't push through. I mean, you never want to go out there with an injury in a big fight like that, especially and not perform as you could have that shot too often. So you want to make sure you're as healthy as you can be.
Yeah, for sure. And I know it didn't help that, Dana sort of insinuated that he could have fought, but then he's saying he can't fight. Listen, fighting Islam at any sort of disadvantage, I know no fighter's 100% healthy, but it's not a good idea, because if he goes out there and loses, he's probably not going to get an opportunity again, right? He's already lost to him once. So I think, that just annoyed me, because there was a lot of fans being like, it was a weight cut. And I'm like, where is this evidence that it's a weight cut? Because he got an injury? You think that's like a cover up? It was just crazy to me that people were jumping to that conclusion.
Think he's really missed weight in the past before, where it's been
one fight, I think a couple years back, but if you look at his overall record, he's only missed weight, I think, the one time, and it was I think when he fought Matt Frivola, he missed weight in that one, but it was like a pound or two. It wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah, it's not like it's a consistent problem that he's having, he's always struggling or close. It's so where they come up with this stuff is beyond me.
It's the newer fans, man. It's just it's annoying, honestly. I could only feel for you guys, but with how fans act online. But to me, it's even worse. Just seeing some of the comments that are out there. But anyways, we talked about your camp weight cut. I know you always make. Speaking of weight, you always make the weight, so I assume that's all going well ahead of this one.
Yeah, that'll be good. I'll be solid. Back down to 45. Last one got lucky. It was at 55, but a week's notice, so it was still a bit of a cut, but this one, have full camp, full diet, be back at 45.
Yeah, that was going to be another thing too. The fact that you got a decent amount of notice for this fight, you get the full camp, you're in your weight class. You got to be feeling really good going into this one, because it's sort of, I know nothing's ideal, because there's always little things you're dealing with, but this got to feel more ideal than other situations you've been in.
Oh, 100%. This is definitely, and it's my first full camp here at American Top Team. I've been here for a while, but just like day in, day out, training, just trying to develop and get better. Now there's like a goal at the end of the tunnel. You see that light, you train super hard, you game plan, you get dialed in. So yeah, this is really, really good in my favor.
Stuff. Your corner, I imagine either Mike Brown or one of your other coaches, and then I'm assuming Grant, or who's going to be in the cage with you?
It's gonna be Mike, Grant, and my striking coach Anderson.
Okay, there we go. And how's this one playing out at UFC 313? How do you see it going down?
I see a lot of just staying with the forward pressure, hopefully, and blocking some of the kicks, working some takedowns. If not, I mean, if the takedowns don't work, then we just get stuck on the feet and have a punching match like my last fight, which it's not ideal, but it could happen with anything. So the game plan, just go in there, fight how I should, wrestle, grapple, win some exchanges, stay safe, and come out with the win.
A lot going on in your division. Well, at least I should say there's not a whole lot going on because we don't know what's happening with the title. I'm just curious, as someone who's in the division, a lot of people feel like Volk should get that rematch with Topuria just because, he'd been champion for a long time. He technically only has one loss at 145. Are you in that camp, or would you like to see Ilia move up and fight someone like Islam? Because obviously there's some talk that might happen next too. Where do you stand on that? I was just curious.
I'm a tweener on it. Like, I could see why he wants to move up and fight Islam. Like, he finished two of the greatest guys in the division of all time. So it's like, for him, he's like, I already kind of wiped out this division. Let me bump up. But I also think guys should defend the title more than one time before they skip weight classes. Like Islam, he's defended the title, I think, 3 times now.
Yeah.
And he hasn't moved up or nothing like that. So I think jumping weight classes, I feel like got way too common. Like, guys will win the title and then want to jump up after one fight. I think you should defend times and then be able to move up.
Yeah, it's crazy how things have changed, right? Like Conor said, it kind of set that, in motion, the double champ thing. Because I remember back in the day, it was like, George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, all these fighters would like take years and defend their titles. And there was never, there was some talk about George St. Pierre fighting Anderson Silva, but for the most part, it was like, stay in your division, fight as many people as you can, and then, move up. Like even Demetrius Johnson, same thing. I don't think there was any talk really of him moving back up to 135, right? So.
Yes, I think it's not like there's no depth at 45. Still has.
You got Lopez, you got what's his name, Voyev, right? Like there's a lot of options there.
Yeah, he's got at least 3 more fights he could have at 45 that are still exciting, that are just like walk-through fights.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what happens there. Did you watch the UFC this past weekend, and if so, what did you think of Weili Zhang defeating Tatiana Suarez?
I didn't see any of it.
No worries. Like the honesty, but I know you watched the Super Bowl there. So what were your thoughts on the Eagles giving an absolute ass kicking to the Chiefs?
It was pretty cool to see. It was good. I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I was kind of rooting for the Eagles, but they kind of just blew them out. I mean, the score looked a little closer, but they let up 2 easy touchdowns at the end. They weren't really trying anymore. No,
I didn't expect it to be that much of a. I don't watch much football, but I still thought it would be more competitive than it was. So. Yeah, well, that was kind of an interesting one. But your fight's going to be great. UFC 313, March 8th. We're looking forward to it. If there's anyone you'd like to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
Just thank American Top Team, being able to train there with the best team in the world, best guys in the world, great coaches, just everyone that's been helping me out this whole camp. It's just a pleasure. So thank you to all those guys.